Good evening, and welcome to the Big Z Sports Extra Point Show, showcasing the new Philadelphia Quakers, powered by Keim Home Center. Now, let's head to the Hartzler's Quality Housing Mobile Studio at Hog Heaven in New Philly with Big Z Sports.
Hi, friends, and welcome to the Extra Point Show on Big Z Sports, New Philadelphia Quaker Edition. I'm Denny Trimmer from WJER. Bill Morgan, my WJER broadcast partner, joins, and we're going to get this thing started. We're coming out hot, guys. Tim Fortney, the New Philadelphia Director of Athletics, is here with us. And Mr. Fortney, it's great to have you with us. Thanks for helping us kick off the show. Lots of busy things happening in and out of your office in the fall. All school year long, but fall, I mean, you just come out like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about some of the things that aren't football related, because most of this broadcast is going to be all pigskin. So
sure.
We're going to lay it out for you and let you go.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me, Denny and Bill. I appreciate what you guys do for us here, especially in all the coverage that we get. But, the fall is really – it is the busiest time of the year here at New Philadelphia. We got 450 athletes in grades 7 through 12 that are, that are doing something after school. And, I think our coaches do a great job of taking care of kids. And, I think that's one of the reasons why we have some of the numbers that we do. And that makes me excited as the athletic director to know we got that much participation. Like you said, we're not going to talk about football right off the bat, but I did want to hit some of our highlights here that we've had in the fall so far as some of our other sports. Some of our highlights here, we got in boys golf, we had Brady Evans was our OCC medalist and Division I district qualifier. In girls golf, they finished the Tri-County League with a 9-3 record and had a first place at the Griffin's Cup tournament and qualified for the Division I district next week at Eagle Sticks. Love that golf course, by the way. Don't play it well, but I love that golf course. Boys cross country, as everybody knows, Marcus Adelman, is a prolific cross country runner for us, and he was a county champion. He was also the OHSAA preseason meet champion down in Columbus, so he's doing a great job for us. In volleyball, currently they're 8-7. They had a big win over Tusky Valley the other night.
It's a good win.
That was a great win. Sydney Vandal this last week got 1,000 digs. Which was an awesome individual accomplishment. She's 1 and 8, I think, at New Philly that's been able to accomplish that task. So, those have been some of the highlights, I guess you could say. And boys and girls soccer and volleyball, they're all getting ready for their tournament draws this weekend. So, but it's always exciting, and we got a ton of sports going on. And buses going 100 miles in some of the locations that we have around the league. But it's a great time of year, and with the weather starting to shape up, it makes it even better.
Tim, it probably doesn't matter what sport we're talking about, but I'm sure as the director of athletics, one thing you look for is development and improvement over the course of a season. You just mentioned volleyball's win over Tusky Valley. Earlier in the year in the Quaker Gymnasium, they lost to Tusky Valley in a game that Trojans played very, very well, and I'm sure Coach Reason would tell you her team didn't play their best, but here now about a month and a half later, they go to Tusky Valley and pick up a win. I guess talk a little bit about how development is, not only to volleyball, but your other sports as well.
Well, I think anytime, when you look at personal growth, you look at team growth, you look at organizational growth, I think that's really should be the main component of all of our coaches. I mean, I think that when you look at a kid right now, might not necessarily see where they are right now, but how good they can be. And I think that's one of the things that our coaches really try to work on. And I think that's what we try to develop in education-based sports is just, kids it's their formative years for a reason. They're still forming, they're not going to be perfect. 16, 17, 18-year-old kids are going to do some things that are frustrating at times, and and then they're going to make a great play, and then they're going to do something terrific from a character standpoint, and all those things that we want to bring out in kids. And I think growth is part of that. And obviously, as you see that from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, when you have a chance to make what we call the tournament run, I think that's very critical for a lot of our coaches to be able to do, especially in the sports that everyone qualifies for the postseason.
This is the Big Z Sports Extra Point Show. WJER's Denny Trimmer and Bill Morgan with you, joined now by New Philadelphia Athletic Director Tim Fortney. Tim, it's a busy time of the year, as mentioned, but specifically these coming weeks ahead with some of the extras outside of what happens on the fields and the courts? What's going on?
Well, sure. We got senior night coming up this weekend, which is always a highlight for all of our kids. We have homecoming coming up next Friday on the 11th versus Lexington, which is that's always an awesome part of the year. And then a lot of the tournament stuff. To be honest with you, you got a lot of your postseason tournaments that all kind of get crunched up in this next week and a half. We're going to have cross country and golf and in all of our postseason tournaments, and it kind of all gets crunched there together. But you know what? We just we keep our heads down and keep moving forward each day.
Tim, when you talk about education-based athletics, which is obviously what we have in Ohio in the OHSAA, you've done this in terms of from an administration standpoint for a long time, from your time at Shockton prior to coming here. Tell us about some of the biggest differences maybe in what you do from when you started as an AD to where you are now at New Philly in 2024.
Oh, wow. That's a great question, Bill. I would say probably one of the biggest differences from when I first started is just trying to, continually build relationships with student athletes, with coaches, with parents, with community members. And I think, when I first started as an athletic director, I was also a football coach at the time. I was also a dad at the time. So I was wearing a lot of different hats. And the great thing about where I'm at now compared to where I was at, 10 years ago is that, when I talk to a parent, I've been there. I know what it's like when my kid didn't get to play, or I know what it's like when we took a tough tournament loss, or I know what it's like when things aren't going the way that it's supposed to, because I know that they love their kid more than anything in the world. And when you come into a conversation with a parent with that approach, I think that really helps. I also think that athletics has changed a lot in the sense that, there just seems to be a lot more focus on sports outside of what we would call education-based. There's a lot more club sports. There's a lot more, everybody has to have their own hitting coach, or everybody has to have their own throwing coach and everything. Whereas I think, even 10, 15, 20 years ago, there were still so many things with multi-sport athletes and things of that nature, and I'm hoping that we can continue to do that. I know at New Philadelphia we try to emphasize that a lot, and I think that's a very important piece. And the last part on that I'll add that I think is different is, probably 10, 15, 20 years ago, the weight room became what I would say, like if you were really tough, if you were really good in the weight room, you could really separate yourself as athletes. Now, that's a given. Now, everybody's lifting. Everybody's working out. Everybody's doing stuff year-round. And it's now can you start to separate yourself, I think, in some other ways, and building relationships and building that team camaraderie and doing some things maybe even with nutrition, doing some things with sleep and taking care of your bodies and doing that type of stuff year-round, which I really think is now going to be the new way of being able to get that competitive advantage.
Hey, Denny is with us, and Denny, as probably most of the people watching the show know, at one time played football for the Quakers. And DT, to hear Mr. Fortney talk about weightlifting, back when you played, back in the day, as the kids say, somebody that lifted weights was different because back then there wasn't a whole lot of that going on.
Buddy, that weight room they have now at the stadium was about 2 years old.
Right.
When my classes started to go through, and I don't want to say optional, but but it was kind of okay if you weren't on the regular routine, and that's I want to get to kind of dovetail that to some final thoughts from you before we let you go.
Sure.
Under your watch, New Philadelphia Athletics has really seen some improvements in the facilities as we strive and target really an elite level of performance areas. Talk about some of the good things happening with facilities.
Well, I can tell you this much right now, as you guys know, when you look at our stadium, I mean, what a crown jewel that we have there at Tuscarora Park and Woody Hayes Quaker Stadium, and also even looking at Quaker Gymnasium. I mean, those are two of the best facilities, and we'll call old school facilities that you're going to have, that you're going to find anywhere. I think as we join the new league and people come here, I think they truly enjoy that. But some of the things we got accomplished this last summer, as you know, we did a bleacher update. We had the bleachers torn off there for about 2.5 months, and we got those back on there with new wrap and everything. And that area is very nice now. Even maybe potentially be able to do some more things with that there underneath the stadium down the road. We also got a new roof on the field house. Also got to give a shout out to Chris Kreinbull, our local councilman there he did an incredible job of raising money down to Southside Park. They did about $250,000 worth of work.
Oh, you
to
and I discussed that. It's incredible.
It's amazing. I mean, we got new dugouts down there. We've got new fence down there. We've got new bleachers down there. I mean, we got a new press box down there. I mean, just an incredible job by him and a lot of individuals and corporations that have been so helpful. We're doing some stuff, wrapping up some stuff down at the Dome with some new scoreboards, and we're getting a new batting net and fixing up the walls down there. But that's probably, you were mentioning about coming from Coshocton to New Philly. That's probably one of the biggest differences I can tell you is that, you know what, I've never felt the amount of giving that we have in this community in terms of for our athletic facilities and for our kids. I can tell you what, they're a lot more spoiled than I ever was growing up, and they have awesome facilities, and it just makes it a great place to play, and it's great for our kids. So love everything about it.
Well, Tim, thank you for joining us tonight. Big night for the Quakes. We got to get Coach Johnson in here. We're going to meet some of the players tonight. But thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Tim Fortney, Director of Athletics at New Philadelphia High School. We're going to take time now on Extra Point. When we come back, Coach Johnson will join us, and we'll talk Quaker football up next on Big Z Sports.
Everyone loves that legendary Hog Heavens barbecue. Rev up your appetite with delicious lunch and dinner specials all week long, including Burger Night Mondays and Wing Nights on Tuesday and Thursday. Find Hog Heaven on social media for updates regarding live events, food specials, and new menu items. As always, Hog Heaven will be the place to be. To see the whole menu, go to hogheaven-bbq.com or just stop in for the delicious barbecue you love at locations in Dover and New Philly.
In the rolling hills of Holmes County, we tend to do things a bit differently. At Keim, we're in the business of uncommon experiences, and we're here to care for your project like we care for our own. We believe that quality matters and want to help you get it right the first time, because your project deserves it. So visit Keim Home Center, your source and destination for all things home, building, and woodworking. Keim, built on trust since 1911.
Welcome back to Extra Point on Big Z Sports. I'm WJER's Denny Trimmer, WJER's Bill Morgan. At the far end, as you're looking from left to right, and right in the middle is our guy Mike Johnson, the fourth-year head football coach at New Philadelphia High School. Coach, welcome. Good to see you.
Well, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
What'd you order for dinner?
I got 10 wings coming at me.
Come on now, Coach. You can eat more than 10 wings.
I'm sure I could. I'm going to lie and say they're super hot, too.
Okay, fine. He got mild. Don't let him kid you.
Barbecue. I like the flavor.
It's great when you can come to a venue like Hog Heaven here in New Philadelphia and order up wings, order up burgers, all kinds of great stuff on the menu. Glad to have them as one of our sponsors this evening. Our thanks to Hog Heaven for providing the venue. We're sitting outside on this beautiful patio, great fall night, and it's starting to feel like fall now all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean the last couple of days we got those rain. The rain came in, and unfortunately with the hurricane, but temperature's been great. It's been great for practice. A little extra pep in our step, which is a good thing.
Mike, we've talked food, we've talked weather. Let's get to the nuts and bolts of this and talk football. Your team stands at 3-3 on this season, not where you want to be necessarily numbers-wise. The team has played well for the most part. I think you look at most of these games, and Bill's going to break some of this down. Certainly a couple of these losses, flip of the coin, and they're wins. So the team is there. Are they where you think they should be after 6?
Well, I think you're right, Denny. There's a couple we wish we could get back, a little bit here, a little bit there that we needed to have and we didn't get. So the growth, getting back at it last weekend was great. Going down to West Virginia, getting that win under our belt was, I think, a big deal because it gets the momentum going back in your favor, and that's kind of where you need to be going into this last stretch in the month of October. You got to win games in October if you want to make the playoffs and if you want to have success in the playoffs. So that's really the driving force behind us now.
Coach, obviously you'd like to have some more wins on the slate, but when you look at those losses, you're talking about 3 losses by a total of 10 points. And, oh, by the way, 2 of the 3 losses are to teams that, as we sit here at Hog Heaven tonight, are a combined 12-0. Now, having said that, I know there are no moral victories, but what do you take from positives in the Steubenville game where you led going into the fourth quarter, and certainly over there at Ashland where you battled with a team that's probably going to have a Division I quarterback when his college career kicks off? How do you take positives out of games that were so close to victories but didn't finish where you wanted them to be?
Well, in both of those games, Bill, there were times where we had opportunities and we didn't make the most of them, and then there's times where we, had some breakdowns. And that's really like the continuity that you want is you want to work and get rid of all those breakdowns. We need to do that to have the success we want, and that's what that's what we're striving for. We're striving for perfection. We're striving for those perfect plays every play. And granted, you're not going to get them every play, but when we have an opportunity to make a play, are we going to make it? And if we do that more times than not, we're going to have a lot of success. So, some positives coming out of that Steubenville was definitely, I thought our defense was flying around. Outside of a couple breakdowns, it was a great game defensively. And then offensively, we made some nice passes down the field. I think Keaton Fossil's played out of his mind this year, hitting guys like not even the short ones, like over the top passes. And that's something we're really excited about because that gives you, those chunk plays that allow you to go score the ball. So getting those and getting, those most of the games on the regular has been very beneficial to us.
You've had big plays from Keaton all season long. Perhaps his most complete game happened last Friday night at Lindsley.
Yeah.
Accounting for 5 scores, 3 through the air, 1 on the ground. And, oh, by the way, you threw him the football, and he ends up 56 yards later in the end zone. A new wrinkle getting him the ball in an unconventional way?
We've kind of had some little gadgets for him here and there that we haven't really got to, and it was we wanted to get to him, and we wanted to get to him fast. I think that was part of it this week was we got to get him the ball in different ways because he's so electric with the ball in his hands. So the backup quarterback was able to come in, Parker Eager, and toss him one, and Keaton did the rest. And he had his wideouts were out from front of him, getting some blocks, and that's a great thing. So we're really excited about that, and we're excited about how he's playing. And it adds a little level of trickery, maybe, disguise, but it also allows our offense to move the ball efficiently, and that's what this is all about.
Well, and let's keep it on the offensive side because Bill and I have been banging the drum of that defense all season long. Let's give the offense some props here for a moment. With us tonight, Pete DiDonato, who will be on later, along with Keaton. Carson Long, a part of that receiving corps.
Yes.
C.J. Carlisle's maybe not a guy that we had written down initially as, hey, he's going to be the leader offensively. But, boy, has he really come to light as a go-to guy, someone that is going to be huge coming down in this 4-game stretch at the end of the season.
Really, like C.J., kind of where I think the coaches started to think, like, well, C.J. might be that guy was kind of this off season. It was this track season. He put together a great month of December and January in the weight room, like a great month. And you saw some of his explosiveness. Track season, he's all of a sudden like super fast. And then when we came out, he really adds something to help Pete and help Carson out because there are 2 leading receivers coming back this year. Carson does a great job of getting the ball in space, running with it. Pete gets downfield. He made a catch the other night that was, I think he reached behind the defender and pulled the ball to his body, and I think it even looked like it was a one-hander. I don't even know how he did it, but like Pete makes those circus catches, and now you got a burner to join them, which really stresses out defenses. So
electric.
He's done a really good job, and we're really excited about what CJ's done and what the rest of the receivers have done. And Keaton getting the ball to him.
You mentioned that catch by Pete. That was one of those you got mossed catches. I mean, that was impressive to be sure.
Yes, I mean, really, it was. It was one of those that when Keaton threw up, I was like, I don't know. And then and Pete turned around and just kind of the defender was there, and Pete just kind of it really looked like on film, grabbed it one-handed and brought it to his body. It was amazing.
I think of the score, or the long pass against Steubenville. Similar scenario up the hash.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. And then he took it another 40 yards on the ground after that. So, Pete's got some speed. He's got a little bit of speed.
We don't want to brag him up too big.
No, he'll be up here and you can talk to him about it.
Mike Johnson, our guest. This is the Extra Point Show on Big Z Sports. I'm WJER's Denny Trimmer, and Coach, the defense has been there from the word go. Seth Watson pushing all the right buttons, and as Bill and I have gone through the games on the call, it seems that at each level you're getting great play, but if you really wanted to put a star on something, you look at that linebacker group and say, wow, this is what we thought it could be.
Well, in really, like those two inside linebackers, that was my biggest concern coming in this year. Zach Rothrock was tremendous for us. He's an all-Ohio kid. He's a big linebacker, ran things down, and was just so good last year. And right beside him, you had Jaden Bolts, who would run right through that wall and tackle you. He was just a tough kid. And coming into this year, those two inside jobs were guys that we were like, well, what's going to happen? How's it going to play out? And Vincent Magoni has stepped up and has been just tremendous. And then beside him, Caleb Crothers, who's a sophomore, has come out, and I've been more than impressed with what Caleb's done. So those two guys inside have done a great job. But then you got the outside linebacker of Brody Gillen, who comes back this year, is a returner, and he's fast. He comes off that edge hard, and he's tall, he's skinny, but when he hits you, it hurts, and we love that. So he's done a tremendous job. And then Miles Tyson, our other returning outside linebacker, has just been plagued with injuries, but we have Aiden Matthews who will come up tonight, and Aiden's done a really great job filling in for him.
Well, when you talk about Miles not being able to play, he's been banged up really throughout the course of the season. What is a positive perspective of, will you get him back? Do you have any idea when you'll get him back, or is it all kind of a wait-and-see situation, Coach?
Every day we get closer. I know that. Every day we're getting closer. And Miles, talking a little bit today, it sounds like there's a chance where we might be able to get him even, hopefully a little bit sooner. I think we're probably a week out, though.
Week out it is.
I'll put the pressure on him by saying that.
I'll go for a week.
If he's listening to this, yeah.
You can also put the pressure on Todd Steele, right?
I'll tell you what.
A little pressure on Steele.
Steele does an amazing job. We are so lucky at New Philadelphia to have Todd Steele, because he takes care of everything. Like I saw, my son's over there. He saw him last week when he broke his leg. He was taking care of him on the field. Todd takes care of everyone. And probably sometimes even me too.
Emotional support.
That or I'm becoming old. I think a little bit of both. A little bit of both.
Mike Johnson, our guest on the Extra Point Show here on Big Z Sports. Coach, we've looked in the rearview mirror now. Let's turn our focus forward. 4 games remaining, 3 of them at home, including the next 2. So a springboard from Lindsley into what is momentum that you're going to have and perhaps run the table to get us into the postseason.
And that's what we got to do. It's almost every week's a playoff game now, because you're fighting for your lives. And it starts this week with Madison coming to town. And they're a big football team. They got a lot of guys returning. And, so we are going to have to meet that challenge and meet their physicality and get out there and go. So we're excited about that. But you're not kidding. It's a couple of home games, which is nice, but you got Madison, you got Lexington, out to West Holmes, and then team across the river comes over.
Is there a different mindset once you're in the season? Of course, everyone opens the season. We want to go undefeated. We want to win the conference. We want to beat our rival. When you get to stop and reassess, we're just past the midway mark now, and we kind of know what it's going to take to get us to the postseason. How do goals change? How does the team's attitude change in terms of getting things done to get where you want to go?
Well, I think the attitude's driven a lot by the players, and I think our captains have done a good job of maintaining a vision and knowing, what we did week 4 and week 5 wasn't good enough and or acceptable. So how are we going to play week 6 and week 7? And I think they showed that on week 6. Week 7, we had a couple of good days of practice. Let's see if that momentum carries over. And I think really that's what it comes back down to. As coaches, you kind of circle the wagons. You're like, all right, where are we at? What do we need to do better? How can we be better to serve them? But also, it comes down to they're the guys that make the plays. They're the guys who go out and play it. So how can we get them, into it? And I think they've done a good job. I think this group of guys has done a great job with that.
Coach Mike Johnson, our guest on WTUZ's Extra Point Show, a preparation question, Coach. You mentioned playing Madison. They went into a double overtime with Ashland last week. When you've already played a team like Ashland, they played Ashland, can you pull anything extra from the game film in terms of what Madison has done against them, what you did against Ashland that helped you prepare for the Rams, or not necessarily?
Sometimes you can pull more than others. Ashland's empty every play, so usually you look for who's doing the similar formations, who's got similar players. But with how Ashland spreads it out, sometimes teams do different things defensively against them. So we saw Madison in a different defensive front against Ashland than they had played the week before, 2 weeks before. And the good news is it's a front that we've played against and we've practiced against. But sometimes it's those type of things where you're like, oh man, now we got to get a little extra wrinkle with this, practicing some of those fronts. But also, you look at who and where did we have matchups that were successful against Ashland? What did they have that was matchups that were successful? And you're able to kind of, iron things out and make your decisions on kind of where your game plan goes from there.
Coach, and I'm going to pull it back to a more overriding life story kind of thing here. When a guy plays high school football and has success and thinks, boy, I really like this. I think I want to grow up and get into coaching someday. I'd like to do that back at the school that I played for. You're kind of living that dream out.
It's kind of cool, yeah.
How has that been from the very first game as a head coach? Now you've been on staff for way too long.
It's been a long time, yeah. It's been a long time.
But now that you're the head coach, what does the difference mean?
I mean it's pretty special because you know what these guys have gone through. You've been through some of it before. I'm very fortunate to have been on this staff for a long time, to have coached under Matt Dennison, who I think's done a great job. He helped turn this program around. We had a head coach for a couple of years, another head coach for a couple of years, and we really struggled with that continuity, and he added to that. And I think he was able to kind of, all right, let's get over that and let's move forward. And I think, being fortunate to be a part of that staff, I learned a lot of, kind of ways to be successful, and we have a phenomenal staff. And of the staff, I'd say we have a couple of guys who are Philly grads. You have Jesse Candle, who's just graduated. We coached Jesse Candle, which is always funny to me. Corey Swinderman, whose wife is going to have a baby tonight.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Corey is a new Philly guy. You got Sam Moody, who's on staff at the lower level. A couple of our younger coaches, Zach Lochenslager, Brant Wells. These guys, it means something to everybody, and that's what's so cool about high school sports is these kids put in so much time, effort, and energy. They care so much. It's valuable. It adds value and utility to their lives. And now that we're able to help give to that and help feed that, it's something that's pretty fun. So I feel very fortunate to be the guy who's in charge, but it's nice because you have other people who are also just as invested as you that want this success as well, and I think that helps.
Mike Johnson, our guest on the Extra Point Show, Big Z Sports. I'm Denny Trimmer. Bill Morgan alongside as well. Coach, we've talked a lot already here, but let's wrap this up by giving everyone a little preview of Friday night. Not a prediction. I think think you're going to win, but we know that's what you're prepping for.
We're prepping for
so
that.
So tell us how things are going to unfold. What's the game plan? Go ahead.
I think a lot of it comes down to we are going to need to continue to be consistent. That's one thing. When we look at last week we talked about we want to be opportunistic on defense. Whenever we get a chance to get an interception or get a chance to get that ball back, we need to make it happen, and our players did a wonderful job of that. And then our offense, we tried to put a couple of different wrinkles in so we could be more consistent pushing the ball downfield and more consistent in the run game. So, I mean, really it comes, can we build on those things? That's our biggest goal right now, because as we build that consistency, that's what gives us an opportunity to have success in the long term. It gives us success not just this week, but like we talked about earlier, we're trying to get ourselves on a run. Well, let's build on these schemes, build on these, these formations, or maybe these defensive, pressures, and let's keep building on that so then we can, have success the rest of the way. And that's really what this is all about. So as we look at like this weekend, do we want to run the ball? Heck yeah, we want to run the ball. We're going to find different ways to get the ball to different players. Yeah. We got, we have different guys over there that all need the ball in their hands, and I'm excited to try to get the ball in their hands in different places. But, we need to have that consistency to get them the ball there and then let them go make plays, because I think we got some good playmakers.
Coach, good luck this week. Good luck the rest of the run.
Yes. Appreciate
and thanks
it.
for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It's great.
Mike Johnson, the fourth-year head coach of the Quakers, here on the Extra Point Show from Big Z Sports, live at Hog Heaven in New Philadelphia. Let's break here. When we come back, let's start talking to the players, and we'll do that next on Big Z Sports.
Everyone loves that legendary Hog Heaven's barbecue. Rev up your appetite with delicious lunch and dinner specials all week long, including Burger Night Mondays and Wing Nights on Tuesday and Thursday. Find Hog Heaven on social media for updates regarding live events, food specials, and new menu items. As always, Hog Heaven will be the place to be. To see the whole menu, go to hogheaven-bbq.com or just stop in for the delicious barbecue you love at locations in Dover and New Philly.
In the rolling hills of Holmes County, we tend to do things a bit differently. At Keim, we're in the business of uncommon experiences, and we're here to care for your project like we care for our own. We believe that quality matters and want to help you get it right the first time, because your project deserves it. So visit Keim Home Center, your source and destination for all things home, building, and woodworking. Keim, built on trust since 1911.
And welcome back. The cast has changed, as you can see if you're watching this on Big Z Sports. This is the Extra Point Show. I'm Denny Trimmer. We're talking Quaker football now exclusively with 3 of the 5 Quaker captains. Immediately to my left, Keaton Fossil, Carson Long in the middle, Boston Crowell on the far end, and Keaton, you've got the mice. I guess you want to start, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so Keaton Fossil obviously starts both ways for the Quakes, but you know him best as the team's 3-year returning starter at quarterback. Keaton, it's been a great season for you offensively.
Thank you.
But perhaps nothing better than the game you had Friday night at Lindsley. Describe the magic you were tossing, running, and catching with the football. It was just a great night for you on Friday.
Well, obviously passing, it all starts up front, the O-line. I was clean all night, didn't get hit at all. And then running-wise, we got down to the goal line. So I had a short little run, and then receiving. It was just a great play call by Coach Jay. The other team didn't know it was coming, so it worked out.
Receiving the football. Now, this is something you don't have a ton of experience with because you've been the guy delivering the passes for years. Mm-hmm. How'd that feel to get out there in the open space and not have a bunch of guys draped all over you?
It was actually really cool. Never had something like that, so it was a good experience, and I scored, so that was even better.
So with the running the offense. You're in your third year. You're the guy. Do you prefer, because you lead the team in rushing as well as you do passing, are there certain times or plays, situations that you say, I know I've got to be the running back here. I know I've got to put my nose down, my shoulders down, get the first down. Do you prefer that versus I know we're going to call this pass play. I know where Carson's going to be. I know where Petey's going to be. I know where CJ's going to be, and I'm going to hit my guy. What do you like running the football as much as you like passing?
Either one, yeah. I mean, I know I can trust my legs and trust my arm and my receivers and the O-line to block. So, I mean, it's good either way.
Well, let's trust Carson Long. You're going to pass the microphone down. Boy, Carson, you looked right down like you didn't even want to say anything. You were hiding from the microphone. Now he steps up. All right, good to have you. Carson Long, a 180-pound wide receiver, defensive back. Been a good season on both sides of the football for you. Most impressive, you're amongst the team leaders in tackles. I know that the defense has been good from the word go all season long.
Yeah. We've been playing really good defense, and I think that's what's kept us in most of our games so far. So,
talk about the secondary as a unit. We brag about Big Boss up front and all the tackles for loss. We talk about the linebackers, how they're flying around. I think it's been the secondary that might be the most cohesive group back there.
Yeah, we have a lot of chemistry, and we're usually locking down the receivers, so it gives the D-line a lot of time to get in there, sack the quarterback. So,
Carson Long, one of the three senior captains on the podium here, I guess. Or that's kind of sitting at tables, but it's not a podium. Glad to have you with us. Carson, when you look at the other side of the football, as a receiver, you're a guy that wants touches. You're in the huddle. I'm the guy. You're coming back off the field. Look my way, Keaton. Look my way, Keaton. But you've got Petey doing the same thing. You got CJ begging for the football now. Are you getting enough touches in this offense?
Yeah, I think honestly, it doesn't matter. Whenever I can get the ball, it's fine, and I'll make plays with it. But as long as we're winning and getting yards, it's a good thing for the offense.
And talk about that team approach, because it would be real easy to be as athletic and as gifted as you are, to be a selfish player, but you've never come across like that. I know you see the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's definitely more about winning as a team and not really about me. So.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and toss the microphone down to the big man. And when we say big man, well, we mean big man. 6'5", listed at 275 pounds. Boston Crowell, two-way starter, offense, the left tackle, the anchor, that defensive line as well. Boston, you lead the team with 9, I think it is, tackles for loss. That's blowing people up in the backfield and stopping plays before they can get started. You've turned into quite a weapon defensively.
Yep. Just Coach Woodard teaching me everything I know about D-line. Everything he teaches me, I implement it into the game, and it always seems to work. So props to him.
You've been a 3-year starter at left tackle. You've got the quarterback's blind side, so that's huge. When you look at the offensive line versus the defensive line, which side of the ball do you prefer?
I prefer the defensive side of the ball. I just feel like I'm more impactful on the defensive side. But, I'll play either or. I enjoy both of them just the same. But defense, I feel like I have more of an impact on the game.
Okay, we're going to work this with the microphone back. You're going to hang on to it for now, but it's going to come back this way. I need to know, through 6 games, what has been your favorite memory of this season? A big play, a big moment. What pops to mind?
I would say Colston Fox's first rushing touchdown, because he was always talking about it. Before the game, he was saying, I'm scoring tonight, and then it happened finally for him. So I was just really happy for him. So that's my favorite memory.
Excellent. Carson Long, a favorite memory from our first 6?
My favorite memory was having a pick 6 against Mansfield Senior. That was pretty cool.
Big play.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Big play. Keaton.
My favorite memory is probably the whole Lindsley game, because we just came off a tough loss and came in and handled business and blew them out. So I thought it was a good win, and the team really needed it.
Did you even have an incomplete pass in that game?
No,
I didn't. Yeah. Good stuff.
Thank you.
So now we've got favorite memories. Talk about, here's one, your favorite class, high school class.
Oh. That's tough.
Study hall is not an acceptable answer.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Study hall's boring, but I would probably say I'll have to go with Coach J's class. I just like it's like relaxed and it's like an easy class, I think. So I'll say Coach J's class, microeconomics.
Microeconomics is easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Carson?
I'm also in the same class as him with Coach J, so I'm going to go with AP Microeconomics with Coach J. It's good class.
2 for 2. Boss, what do you got?
I'm also in the same class, AP Microeconomics. So that is my favorite class.
If you've ever wondered how to become a captain on the new Philadelphia high school football team, take Coach Johnson's AP Microeconomics class.
There you go.
Steak, pizza, chicken. Only you're allowed to say all three.
Steak. It's mine.
Chicken.
I'll have to go with pizza. Love pizza. Wow.
I didn't know where that was going, but I like where it ended up. Guys, with 4 games remaining, we're going to take the quiz show off. With 4 games remaining, though, I want to get your feeling for an outlook. I want to know how things are going to end up with 4 games to go. Playoff picture uncertain right now. You're going to have to play well. You're going to have to probably win out and play your best football moving forward. Do we think Lindsley is a springboard that has us moving in the right direction?
Yeah, I think Lindsley really boosted our confidence and showed us like what we can really do. So it boosts us going to the next 4 games. And like you said, they're 4 critical games, so we need them to win. We need to win out and make the playoffs.
I definitely think we have the ability to win out and make the playoffs, but it just comes down to like not making as many mistakes and just playing for us, like for the team, not really ourselves. So yeah.
I think the Lindsley game was huge because everyone got touches, a lot of people scored. So it was a major confidence boost, and I know we're going to win out, and I know we're going to make a playoff run.
He knows.
I know. We are.
The Joe Namath guarantee issued by Boston Crowell. Thank you guys for being on the show tonight. Appreciate it. The Big Z Sport Extra Point Show live from Hog Heaven in New Philadelphia, brought to you in part by Keim Lumber, and we're glad that you were able to join us tonight. Boston Crowell, Carson Long, Keaton Fossil. We're going to take time here. When we come back, we're going to bring out the 2 remaining captains, and you'll get to meet them next on Big Z Sports.
Everyone loves that legendary Hog Heaven's barbecue. Rev up your appetite with delicious lunch and dinner specials all week long, including Burger Night Mondays and Wing Nights on Tuesday and Thursday. Find Hog Heaven on social media for updates regarding live events, food specials, and new menu items. As always, Hog Heaven will be the place to be. To see the whole menu, go to hogheaven-bbq.com or just stop in for the delicious barbecue you love at locations in Dover and New Philly.
In the rolling hills of Holmes County, we tend to do things a bit differently. At Keim, we're in the business of uncommon experiences, and we're here to care for your project like we care for our own. We believe that quality matters and want to help you get it right the first time, because your project deserves it. So visit Keim Home Center, your source and destination for all things home, building, and woodworking. Keim, built on trust since 1911.
Welcome back to the Extra Point Show on Big Z Sports, talking Quaker football. I'm WJER's Denny Trimmer. WJER's Bill Morgan rejoins, and the cast of characters continues here at the big table. A couple more captains of this new Philadelphia football team. Aiden the Mad Dog Matthews immediately to my left. Bill, careful down there. To your immediate right, Petey DiDonato, and he's a live one. Look out.
Well, he and I have already broke down what we wanted to talk about as it relates to you. Going back about 3 years, Pete, he was Coach Trimmer on the freshman basketball team. Kind of break down for the folks watching tonight what kind of a coach he was in basketball.
Oh, boy.
I think Coach Trimmer was probably the most favorite coach I've had through my whole sports.
That's
laid
that's
back.
Not what you said 5 minutes ago.
Buddy, your dinner is covered.
Nah, but the most laid-back coach and probably one of my favorite.
There you go, Trim.
Well, I appreciate that.
2 thumbs up from Mr. Donato.
And for the headaches he gave me, that's the very least
I see a lot of that. I see a lot of that gray on your temples.
Oh.
It wasn't there before you became a freshman basketball coach.
I've got some stories that we cannot share on Extra Point that have to do with young Mr. DiDonato. Aiden Matthews, also a member of that club, as was Boston Crowell. Mad Dog, we'll get the mic back in your hands, and we're not going to talk basketball. If you want to do that later, you can. But it's been a really nice season for you. You have made a great impact on the defense. You're 5th on the team in tackles, and you've kind of had to flex and learn. It's kind of secondary, and then the linebacking core because of injury. Talk about your experience this season on the defense and how it's gone for you.
You know, in the summer, I was not expecting to, play at outside linebacker. I'd been prepping all summer to play at safety, and then when Coach Johnson and Coach Watson approached me about playing outside linebacker, I said, yeah, I'll do it. And when Miles went down, I knew I was going to have to go in there and fill a role where I got to be more physical, more aggressive, and I got to be able to make plays if I want to be on the field. So that's something I had to adjust to quickly, and, it's worked out the whole season, and I think it's been a great year so far.
You've always been coachable. You've always been the team first kind of guy, so it comes as no surprise you've had this success. But what, from a learning perspective, has been a big change going from that starting the season in the secondary and then having to flex all of a sudden with the injury and go into the linebacking spot?
Like I said, I think just learning a new spot is something that's difficult a lot of the time, and especially the way we play our defense, linebacker and safety have some of the same responsibilities, but it's still just a lot different of a spot. So being able to adjust and adapt in order to stay on the field is something that I would take any day over just having to stay at one spot.
Petey, you have battled through injury as well. As Aiden gives the microphone back to you, how are you feeling, number one, and how frustrating is it knowing what a competitor you are when you've got to sit a game out on the sidelines?
Yeah, it sucks when you have to sit a game out, but my leg's better now. It's fine. And then just after season, I guess I'll take care of it, get it back to 100%.
Pete, talk to us about part of the things you do on the football field are pretty obvious. Spectacular catches offensively, interceptions on defense, and people who know Quaker football very well know of another key role you play in long snapping. That's not something some people have ever done. How challenging is that? And you've got to be pretty good at it. And in a game where you couldn't do that, the Quakers faced some challenges when somebody had to fill in for you. Tell us about your role as a long snapper.
I mean, I loved it when I did it, but I don't do it anymore because they took it out because of my knee. But when I did it, it was pretty fun. But it's tired when you get down there after a drive. You get down in your stands, and you're like breathing really hard, and you got to just snap the ball back. Once you snap it back, it's fine from there.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Pete, with your unique athleticism, you have, for whatever reason, been able to haul in these circus catches this year. Steubenville, Lindsley, that was ridiculous, going up over the guy and pulling it back in. I don't know that you can work on that to the point where you think, well, it's just how I practice catching circus catches, but you've really got the magic. You've got there's something about you that when the ball is in the air, there's a different level of fight in your brain that goes off that says it's mine and not yours. Talk about what that feeling is like when you've got it in your hands and you come down with it and you know it was a ridiculous grab.
I mean, the feeling is just it's a really good feeling knowing that you caught the ball and that you got a first down. But I think over the summer, me and my coach, Coach Candle, we worked on ball drills the whole summer. I didn't play basketball, so I worked out with Coach Candle. We did a whole bunch of workouts, and I think it's gotten me there.
All
so
right.
I can make those catches.
Good stuff. So we're going to keep the mic in your hand. You heard the other guys get to tell their favorite subjects in school. So you have to do the same. I know you take pride in your academic endeavors, and we want to know what your favorite class is right now.
And study hall does not count.
I'm going to have to say psychology with Keaton.
Okay. Mad Dog, what about you, buddy?
Right now, I'd probably have to say psychology, too. I don't have it with Peter Keaton, but I would probably have to say the same.
Why do you guys like psychology so much?
It's interesting just learning about the brain, learning how people think and why they think that way and how that affects, their actions and what they do.
Aiden the Mad Dog Matthews, Pete DiDonato, Bill Morgan. I'm Denny Trimmer. This is Big Z Sports Extra Point Show. We're coming to you live from Hog Heaven in Newfoundland. Did you guys eat already?
Part of our food.
What did you order?
Some ribs, some wings, and some fries.
Petey?
Mac and cheese and fries.
Petey with the mac and cheese and fries. Good stuff. Guys, 4 games left on the regular slate. You've enjoyed playoff football in your seasons past. In order to get there this year, though, it looks like you're going to have to run the table. Talk about what it's going to take.
The biggest things are fundamentals and sticking together. If we played our fundamentals, do what the coaches have been telling us all season, even in the off season, the simple things, we're going to be okay. And if we stick together, we play as one unit, we're going to be just fine.
Pete?
I think Aiden hit everything that we need to do to make the playoffs and win.
Pete, if it were up to you, and obviously the team with your talents needs you on both sides of the ball, do you like Denny was talking about some of those spectacular receptions you made? We've seen you with some pretty spectacular interceptions. Which side of the ball do you like playing on more?
I like defense because it's more physical, like more action. You get to go hit people. That's my favorite part of the game. So.
Well, funny that was your favorite part of the game in freshman basketball as well.
Hitting people.
Well, getting physical, yes.
Okay, well, fair enough.
Yep.
Mad Dog, you've had a catch this year as well, and you've played in the, when the game with Pete was out, you had to fill in at receiver as well. Would you like to see more time on offense, or are you content playing linebacker the rest of the way?
The offensive time is nice, and I enjoy playing offense. That's something I've always liked more. But defensively, I feel like I've grown so much, especially this season there, and I've had so much more fun making plays in the backfield, getting sacks, tackles for loss, that while offensive time would be nice, I'm fine also with just the defensive time too.
Okay. Aiden Matthews, Pete DiDonato, the final 2 captains of your Quaker football team this season. Guys, thanks for being with us here at Hog Heaven. Let's take one final timeout. When we come back, Bill and I will wrap this up from Hog Heaven. This is the Extra Point Show on Big Z Sports.
Everyone loves that legendary Hog Heaven's barbecue. Rev up your appetite with delicious lunch and dinner specials all week long, including Burger Night Mondays and Wing Nights on Tuesday and Thursday. Find Hog Heaven on social media for updates regarding live events, food specials, and new menu items. As always, Hog Heaven will be the place to be. To see the whole menu, go to hogheaven-bbq.com or just stop in for the delicious barbecue you love at locations in Dover and New Philly.
In the rolling hills of Holmes County, we tend to do things a bit differently. At Keim, we're in the business of uncommon experiences, and we're here to care for your project like we care for our own. We believe that quality matters and want to help you get it right the first time, because your project deserves it. So visit Keim Home Center, your source and destination for all things home, building, and woodworking. Keim, built on trust since 1911.
Welcome back for our final segment as we wrap things up here from Hog Heaven in New Philadelphia. This is the Big Z Sports Extra Point Show as we talk New Philadelphia sports with Tim Fortney and New Philadelphia Quaker football with Mike Johnson, the head coach of the Quakers, and then his 5 captains. Time to circle back and bring in our lead analyst, the man who knows more than so many others.
Aren't I the only analyst? I'm kind of lead analyst by default.
Well,
okay.
I didn't want to go there, but yes, you are. Bill Morgan joins, and Billy, after 6 games, Quakers at 3-3, but certainly have played for the most part better than a 3-3 team. However, that playoff positioning is in a tough spot. Talk about what has to happen in these final 4 games to get us to a 5th game, to maybe get us to a 6th game, and to get this playoff thing going.
Well, Denny, I hate to steal a page right out of Coach Johnson's playbook, but he sat here earlier tonight and used the word consistency. I think that's what we have to see out of the Black and Red here over the final 4 weeks of the regular season in just about every aspect of the game. And the games they played well and won, they've been consistent. Offensively, defensively, and on special teams. We go back several weeks ago when C.J. Carlisle had a 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. They're capable of big plays on special teams and on both sides of the ball, but unless they get that consistency for 4 quarters, for 4 weeks, getting into the postseason could well be a challenge, my friend.
What have you liked most about the Quakers this season? We've had a lot of highlights, certainly some moments we'd like to have back, but when you look back at the first 6, what kinds of things have surprised you about the Red and Black, and what things really stood out?
I would say easily, and you touched on this, Denny, when the show kicked off, the way they played defensively. I mean, are there some points and times through 6 games where they could have played better? Absolutely, but we can all say that about everything that we do in our everyday lives. You're not going to be perfect, and Mike talked about, and Athletic Director Tim Fortney talked about, remember, we're talking about 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, and they're going to make mistakes, just like we would make a mistake in a broadcast, maybe not as obvious to people because we're not on a football field under lights in front of who knows how many people, but we make mistakes too. So I love what I've seen out of the defense. I think that's only going to stay good and get better. I think offensively, you'd like to see more of the chunk plays, as you like to say, and get those big plays. Certainly we saw a number of those in week number 6 against Lindsley. And I know what everybody's thinking. Let's be honest. It's Lindsley. They hadn't won a football game. Well, what Coach Johnson and his team did in week number 6 was what we wanted to see them do in week number 5 against a winless Mansfield senior team. They didn't in that particular game. I believe it was 14 penalties they had in that game, and a coach and his staff knew we've got to be better in week number 6, even though we're playing a team that's challenged in the wins and losses department, and they were.
Bill, it's going to be a great run down the stretch here to get this team to the postseason. I look forward to calling these games with you. Folks, we look forward to having the games for you on WJER Radio, and we're so glad to be a part of the Big Z Sports family and to be with you tonight on this Extra Point program. Let's go get it done.
Well, I hope so. And one of the lowlights, matter of fact, the only lowlight of this show, when I rejoined you after Aiden and Petey went back to the table with their friends, a bird was flying in low pattern over here and may have dropped a bomb on my right arm. So there you have it.
Boy, I thought maybe that was wing sauce on your shirt there.
I don't think so.
Maybe
I think
not,
it's from
folks.
the bird. Well, fortunately, the show is just about over.
What a way to end. So for Bill and the Bird, for everyone affiliated with WTUZ, we want to thank you for being with us tonight on the Extra Point Show. I'm Denny Trimmer. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching this Claxon Communications production of High School Sports on the Big Z Sports YouTube channel. For the latest news and scores, follow Big Z Sports on Facebook, on Twitter @Big_Z Sports, and on Instagram. Don't miss any of the live stream coverage all season long by simply subscribing for free to Big Z Sports on our YouTube channel. For the best in high school sports coverage, there is only one Big Z Sports.